Alright, welcome to my video series on using the Roland JUNO-DS in a live band setting. This time we'll go over the basics of navigating the Juno and some common settings that you'll use. Alright, when you first boot up the keyboard, you'll be in a basic grand piano sound. And this will be in patch mode, which means you're just using one instrument sound at a time. And you'll know you're in patch mode because of the icon in the top left of this display. In order to change the sounds, you need to highlight the patch number, which it is by default, but you can use the arrow keys to navigate there if you're not already, and then press enter. This will take you to a list of all of the patches and sounds that are stored on the keyboard. And there's several tabs with the different sound categories. You can use either the right or left arrow buttons to navigate, or the category buttons below the display, such as orchestra, brass, synth, etc. You can audition these sounds as you play by using the scroll wheel to scroll up and down on the list. And once you found a sound that you like, you can just highlight it and press enter. That'll take you back to the main screen. Alright, let's say you wanted to quickly layer two sounds on top of each other over the entire key bed. Let's take the example of the grand piano with an underlying strings orchestra sound. To do that, you press the dual button. So instead of just one patch on the display, you'll see two patches. You can use the arrow buttons to navigate to the patch number and press enter, just like before. And we'll go to the piano tab and select grand piano. And then we scroll down to the second layer and press enter. And I've already pre-selected this film octaves string sound. And so we press enter on that. And now what we hear is a grand piano layered on top of strings. But the strings are kind of overpowering the grand piano. So what we can do is scroll over to this volume knob icon and bring it way down with the scroll wheel. And now you can hear the grand piano coming through a lot better. What if you didn't want to layer these sounds on top of each other, but instead you wanted the left hand to be the strings and the right hand to be the grand piano? To do that, you press the split button instead of the dual button. Now it looks very similar to the dual mode, but instead we have the lower register and the upper register. And by default, it is split at middle C. And to change that split point, you can use the arrow keys to navigate down to where it says C4 at the bottom of the screen and use the scroll wheel to change that value. Another fun feature is the super layer mode. And this essentially makes the instrument sound richer and more saturating by adding layers of the same instrument on top of each other. So we'll take the example of the grand piano. Listen to the difference between the normal patch mode and the super layer sound. This is with super layer. And this is the normal patch mode. And we can adjust the number of layers by scrolling down with the arrow keys up to 5 layers. And that the more layers you add, it's just more of a richer sound. And we can even add some detuning to add character. This offsets the tuning of each of the layers. You may have noticed that when I press the split, dual, or super layer buttons, that it no longer says patch in the top left of the display. And that's because the Juno has two basic modes. It has the patch mode for single instrument sounds and the performance mode for layering and splitting sounds. And the split, dual, and super layer modes are just the quickest way of using the performance mode. But you can actually layer and split up to 16 sounds at once on the keybed in performance mode. You can always switch between the patch and performance modes by pressing this patch/perform button. And you'll know which mode you're in by the icon on the top left. To find a performance setting that has already been created and saved by a user, you can scroll up to the preset number, note that's different than the patch number, and press enter. And you will see both the presets that come with the instrument and the user settings. You can see that under the user tab that I've already started creating some of my own performance settings. We'll cover more of how to make your own performance settings in my next videos, but this is all you need to know for navigating the Juno until then.